A pleasant good evening, viewers. My name is Jovan and we are coming to you live out of the 284 Media Studios. Tonight, we are sitting down with royalty. Not only will we be speaking to the reigning Miss British Virgin Islands, Mrs. Bria Smith, but also the 6 contenders vying for the prestigious title of Miss British Virgin Islands 2021. We get a feel of the preparation, the pressure, and just overall the sense of readiness going into this pageant. We speak to all the contestants 1 through 6 right after this commercial break, so stick with us.
You value traditions. You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 Media. As promised, we have some of the best and the brightest in studios with us, beginning with our reigning Miss British Virgin Islands queen. Of course, she has made history with her radiance and all her essence. But tonight, we are so thrilled to be sitting down once again, and it just might be the final time under this very topic. Miss Bria Smith, did I say? Yes. I'm mixing you up with Reba. Bria Smith, our reigning queen. How are you feeling tonight?
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much for inviting me. And it is my final time under this capacity, but it's a pleasure to be here.
Now, Bria, I think I touched on it a little before, but you have essentially made history by being the first queen to represent us for 2 consecutive years. Now, I know the glitz and the glamour that comes along with pageantry, but let's get real. Did that come with a lot of pressure? Because when you think about it, that's truly a heavy undertaking.
Absolutely. First, I just want to say I was extremely humbled to have been given the opportunity. When I competed in the pageant, my mission was to preserve the history, and I didn't think I would be making the history that I was aiming to preserve. So I do say that, yes, I felt like there was some levels of pressure that came there because, you know, you have these plans during your reign, and then the pandemic just switched everything around.
Yes.
And then you're giving another opportunity, but just how can you still execute that if the pandemic is still there? And then that added pressure of, she's been given another opportunity, what will she do with it again? You know, that was a lot of pressure to kind of try and handle.
Well, 2 years is definitely a long time. I want us to zero in on the experience for you. A lot of persons, contrary to what they might think, do not understand that pageants in general is such a framing activity. It really essentially makes you into a better person. What are some of the key takeaways you believe from this experience?
Some of the key takeaways, especially post-reign, would have to be adaptability.
Yes.
You have to be able to adapt to change. You have to be able to accept that things do change and you have to change with it. That's a key takeaway right there. Taking full advantage of opportunities as presented to you.
Yes.
That's another great takeaway that I had. I was able to have some amazing experiences and meet some amazing persons. And I do feel as if I took the best advantage I could with it to propel my platform and to propel the BVI on a bigger platform.
What about your most memorable takeaway? And I know it's probably been a lot, but let's talk about that.
I always feel as if the memorable takeaway is the reigning moment, that moment where you're crowned, that fulfillment that you receive, that, yes, my dream has been fulfilled.
Yes.
That moment is very memorable. And I was asked this question yesterday in another interview about, you know, what do I think my most memorable moment will be? And though it has not happened yet, I do believe that my most memorable moment for this entire experience is going to be passing on the crown, because it's passing on another legacy to somebody else who fulfilled their dreams.
Well, you have definitely added to BVI legacy as it relates to culture. I know you started on that very premise, your platform being culture and historical perseverance, correct? correct?
Yes.
I think it really helped you to stand out because when we think about the British Virgin Islands, yes, we are a destination of sand, sea, and beauty, but I think what really separates us as a people is our culture, that cultural heritage, and you were really able to zero in on that. I want to speak to your experience in Atlanta and injecting a little bit of that BVI culture in Atlanta. What was that like? And also, how was it received?
It's very interesting because we did have a few interviews there, and when they asked about platforms, it was different as opposed to much of the other platforms that other queens come to the regional or international pageants with. And when I did the interview with them, they asked, like, okay, well, cultural and historical preservation, but how does that tie in?
Yes.
And I had to be able to tie it into Irma because a lot of times we don't look at natural disasters and its effects on our lasting history and our lasting culture. But natural disasters can take away the very things that we hold dear that maintain our history and preserve our history. So we always have to find ways to channel that information sharing so that it's not lost when these natural disasters occur. And natural disasters affect almost everywhere in the world. So I had to have been able to kind of make them connect with it.
Not that is just totally relatable.
Yeah, it's absolutely relatable because you have places in Asia what are normally affected by typhoons, by tsunamis.
Yes.
And when you put that into context, persons understand that you are affected with your cultural and historical preservation when your countries become destroyed.
Absolutely. Now, I want to divulge a little bit to something that I consider very near and dear to us as Black girls, the representation that we have been seeing not only locally, and viewers, you're going to get a good little preview of that diversity once my contestants hit the couch in a second. But Bria, even in your representation here, you are rocking your natural hair. Huge advocate for being Black, pro-Black, and celebrating our Blackness. But even as we look on the international scene, Miss South Africa winning Miss Universe International, Miss Jamaica, and so many other queens, Miss Great Britain, all representing in locks, being bald, being bold, being beautiful, being natural. What do you think that says about the industry's maturity? Because it's really unconventional if you're to think about it.
It says that the beauty industry understands that representation matters and that in order for them to reach the markets in which they want people to consume their product, they have to be able to have that representation that represents all audiences. So it's good to see that they are being inclusive and they are being aware of who their audiences are and who they need to actually attract.
I absolutely love it. Before you go, I want to touch on a little controversy that has been rocking the airwaves recently. We are now learning that our Miss British Virgin Islands queen, the next queen, will not be representing at the Miss Universe International pageant. And this is quite contrary to what we are accustomed to based on the pageant history here in the territory. What are your thoughts on that process and how this will affect the next queen?
It's funny that you brought that up, and I kind of expected it.
Yeah.
But I am glad that you asked because as somebody that competed in Miss BVI and as well as Miss Universe, I do think that I have some level of experience to be able to comment on this matter. But I think when we look at history, we will also note that there were some occurrences where persons that were Miss BVI did not go to Miss Universe, and they were actually selected by somebody else. And to be honest, it's nothing really new. I think growing up, I saw it because I followed pageants for years. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily a new phenomenon. And I think even in 2019, 2020, we saw it again with Shabri going in Miss Universe while I was still reigning as Miss BVI. So in that context, I'm not necessarily sure if it's breaking too much of history and the path that the pageants have had in the past. But I will say this, having experienced the two pageants, I do believe that there's some need for either structural change or to have the two shows separated. Because I'll ask you this. Let's have this conversation.
Okay. Okay.
Let's have this conversation. When you think about Miss BVI, when you think about local pageants, what are the two segments that you think are usually the ones that when you see it, automatically you know, oh, that person's going to win?
Definitely the question and answer segment, and I think culture, either the sell BVI or talent, which essentially sells the territory.
Yeah. So normally, from the pageants I've been in, talent and intellect, as you mentioned, are the two main runners.
Yes.
When you go to Miss Universe, there's no talent.
Okay.
There's no talent segment. So when you're preparing for SATs, when you're preparing for CXCs, what do you do to prepare for it?
You study.
No, but you get prep exams that mirror the exams that you would be doing.
Yes.
Because it exposes you to those type of things that once you go into it, you now have an idea of what to expect. So it would have to be a situation where Miss BVI would have to change the structure to mirror Miss Universe if we are to make an impact in these international pageants, or we will allow for another pageant to follow that same trend. Now, what I would love to see is Miss BVI make an impact in ensuring that when you choose a representative for the BVI, that you choose a representative that is all inclusive of BVI.
Yes.
It shouldn't be dependent on the size, whether it's the height or the weight to meet international requirements.
Yes.
It should be about who can represent BVI locally and even regionally.
Yes.
So I do think this is a prime opportunity for Miss BVI to actually change the standard, change the way we see beauty, and change the way we see representation here locally.
I absolutely love it, and I think that is a great note to bring in our contestants, who of course will be representing that diversity. 6 beautiful, intelligent contenders vying for the prestigious title of Miss British Virgin Islands. But before I go, Bria, on behalf of my team, we've always been in conversation with you. We've followed your journey. We've also followed your evolution in this process, and we continue to be amazed, not only by your talent, but by your humility, your poise, and your representation for these beautiful Virgin Islands. So I want to thank you so much for your representation so far. And of course, hope that you don't cry too much when you're passing the baton on October 17th.
I know that it'll be in a very well-deserving hand. So if it's tears, it'll be tears of joy.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Viewers, that was Miss Bria Smith. She is the reigning Miss British Virgin Islands. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. But when we come back, viewers, our first 3 contestants. Stick with us. Viewers, we are back, and of course with the beautiful, some of the most beautiful in the Virgin Islands, our contestants number 1, 2, 3 for the Miss British Virgin Islands pageant. Now this is a conversation that I have been longing to have, because I want to get to know you guys beyond what persons will see on the stage. I think it's so essentially critical for persons to understand who is representing them, all right? And how personable you guys are as well. So without further ado, my contestant number 1, 2, and 3, I'm gonna allow you guys to go ahead and introduce yourself, beginning with you, Ms. Smith.
Okay, hi. Thank you so much, Jovan, for the opportunity to talk to you and share our journey, really. I am Reba Smith, contestant number 1, running for the prestigious title of Miss British Virgin Islands 2021.
Awesome. Shanae?
Good evening, BVI. Thank you for having us here, Jovan. I am Shanae Walters, your contestant number 2.
Good evening, BVI. I am your contestant number 3, Jarina Penn, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So I am not even going to front. I know that this has been quite a long journey. Clearly, we were supposed to have the pageant prior to October 17th. COVID came and was playing a diva. But you guys are bigger divas, obviously. And the show will go on. So I want to speak to you about the process so far. And I'm going to just allow it to go based on where the mics are. But Miss Smith, how has it been for you? And I'm speaking about from the time you guys were revealed. How has the public received you? How has the process been? How has preparations been for you so far?
Okay, thank you. So, preparations for me, when I came into this, when I first signed on, got my chaperone and all of that, the first event we had was a cocktail.
Okay.
Now, when I first saw the girls, I sat on my own.
Okay.
I wasn't really conversational with them. So that would be my first point. When I came into this, I was in my pure, authentic self.
Okay.
So throughout the journey, I have started conversing with the girls more. You know, I took time to talk to each one of the contestants individually.
Would that have been because you were a little bit intimidated, were you?
No,
Okay.
not for that reason.
Okay.
I was told specific things.
Okay.
And, you know, I made it a part to be sort of separated.
Okay.
But now I see that it is really a sisterhood.
Yes.
Because remember, I did not follow pageants prior to this one. So I didn't really know, you know.
Yes, what to expect.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now that I am starting to, you know, get to know the girls and just talk to them, get to know them, it's absolutely amazing. So that is what I would say, my journey and preparations in getting here. You can see that I'm more open, conversing with them. So that's what I say.
Awesome. And really and truly, you guys are really working towards the same goal, yeah? So I love that you mentioned the sisterhood because it really helps. It really helps. Miss Walters, how has it been for you so far?
It has been interesting.
I like that.
Essentially, when I started my journey, I knew for sure that I wanted to run in the Miss BVI pageant. But I was very nervous about it, very unsure. I haven't had any history. I wasn't an avid pageant follower.
Yes.
But I said this is something that I wanted to do, and I stuck by that. You know, every time we go to practice or every time I have practice on my own, it's always been interesting and empowering just to learn things about myself and just gain that confidence in myself. I've found that I just feel myself a bit more as of lately.
Yes.
Because of the preparations for the pageant. You know, we
Yes.
have so much appearances. I'm putting on makeup more often. You know, you're speaking with more persons like yourself.
Yes.
Just getting other persons to know me for who I am. And I think that's probably my favorite part of the journey.
I love that you
And-
said that, Miss Walters, because it's almost as if you're getting to know yourself.
Yes, basically. And that was also one of the reasons I decided to join the pageant. You know, when I initially wanted to join back in 2019, I don't think I was ready. And seeing the improvements and changes that I've made since joining this pageant, it's amazing, honestly.
Awesome.
And sorry, but also like Reba said, the sisterhood with the girls is very nice.
Awesome. Miss Penn.
Hi. So, preparations for me basically started back when I decided that I wanted to run for Miss Junior BVI.
Okay.
But that didn't happen. So, when I got the call this year for Miss BVI, it caught me at a shock because I didn't know they were having any shows due to COVID, and that's why I didn't think on it. But when I got the call, I was like, okay, I'm going to take it on because this is happening for a reason. So my preparations since then have been very fun and interesting. It has pushed me out of my comfort zone, like I always say. It is something that is very new. I am a performer, yes. I am used to the stage, but this is a whole different ball game. Whole different ball game. So I feel like the preparations have really showed me a different side to me and a different side to my performance skills. And it really has impacted me and benefited me in a great way.
Awesome. Now, platforms, which is always my personal favorite aspect of following the journey of contestants. I really think outside of what we conventionally understand to be the pageant scene, which is how you look, how you act, how you walk, how you're poised. That's the good stuff, right? But it really doesn't speak to who you are as a person, because those are all learnable traits, right? I think what is most appealing is what appeals to your heart. And so your platforms really have been impressive. When I think about the diversity that we have from this lineup, I know you are in particular speaking to the importance of the environment. So if you can just, technical difficulties. But if you can, Ms. Smith, can you just tell us a little bit about your platform and why did you choose that particular platform?
Okay. So my platform is environmental protection and sustainability.
Okay.
Now, initially, I used to go sailing with my grandfather all over the islands in the BVI, Norman Island, and so. And that was basically the foundation to why I chose this.
Okay.
So now, going to secondary school, I participated in the St. George's Secondary School Environmental Club, where we assisted in replanting different, carrots, all sort of things. And after that, I joined the Interact Club.
Okay.
Now, this is a whole different thing, because then we were out of the school and into the community.
Yes.
And it really just shocked me when I saw just everything scattered along the side of the road, lighters, bottles. And you can really see the contrast, because I was up in the UK in college. And let me tell you, the highlands over there are something else. So just seeing that contrast, I just want to promote and bring awareness to basically promoting the environment. The residents here need to know that they need to preserve this environment. This is where we live.
Absolutely.
So we really need to protect it at all costs.
And I completely agree with that. One of the things in particular that always comes back to mind when we think about preserving the environment is how important that is to the tourism industry and what tourists see when they come here. How do you think we can better manage waste as a community? What do you think we can do to make our territory appear greener, cleaner, and all of that?
Well, for one, the disposal of these masks. So,
Girl.
Yes. So, yes, we're currently in a pandemic, and we have not had a full tourism season yet.
Yes.
But can I just say, let's bring it back to this morning. I was in town this morning, and I saw someone literally take off their medical grade mask and drop it on the side of the road.
Wow. Yeah.
They walked straight past the trash can and they dropped it. These masks are not biodegradable.
Yeah.
So I was really shocked to see that. The masks that we wear and that the community has provided for us are cloth masks. You can purchase these by just going to any small business, Kwame Sewing Designs, for example. So I'm sure that the tourism industry, which is bringing revenue to our country, I'm sure our fellow BVI Islanders do not want to see that revenue go out the window.
Right.
So I would really encourage people to maybe definitely consider dropping these masks at the appropriate dumping sites and really purchasing reusable masks from small business.
I love that. It really takes away from the fact that, first of all, we don't want an unclean environment, but also recycling is important in that journey as well. Miss Walters, I'm so excited to hear about your platform.
Okay, so my platform is raising awareness on mental health and its impact on our communities. But before I get into that, I also have a passion for the environment. And a lot of persons that know me questioned why my platform was in environmental sustainability.
Okay.
Like Reva's.
Yes.
And the reason was simple. I felt that we had a lot of organizations and departments within the government that were already trying to do their best in that aspect. I wanted to focus on something that's not heavily talked about.
Yes.
So mental health is quite taboo in the BVI. It's not talked about often. Persons who go to therapy might seem crazy or looked down upon. And I want to just shed some light on it so that we can all benefit from it. You know, therapy and self-care days are great ways for us to just improve ourselves
Yes.
and in turn improve the community.
I think I'm like the self-care queen, so trust me, I completely understand the importance of mental health and creating that healthy balance. And Ms. Walters, especially in this time, we have seen, especially with the advent of COVID-19, taking such an extreme toll on our mental health. What advice do you have for persons, and you know, as you go into, are you to become queen, that is, as you go into that reign, what would be your advice or your approach to dealing with this issue?
My approach, I think, is to get persons talking about what their issue is. We tend to keep a lot of things to ourselves, increasing our stress.
Yes.
And that's not good. That's not the way to get over situations. Whether it's confiding in a friend or a professional, I think we should speak to somebody. And my goal actually, once or if I am crowned Miss British Virgin Islands 2021,
Yes.
is to actually start a therapy fund. This is so that persons can donate for other persons to go to therapy.
That is a brilliant idea. And you know, Ms. Walters, one of the things persons also don't know, which was actually a shock to myself as well, is the fact that NHI covers therapy.
NHI covers therapy.
You know? Yes. And so I think that is awesome. And I think creating that avenue and that platform, raising the conversation and forcing it. Because I think as a Caribbean people as well, we have a tendency of saying, oh, take it to the Lord. Pray about it.
Yes.
Smile. Cheer up.
That's not going to work.
Exactly.
And I also think, you know, self-care looks different to everybody. You know, some persons like to go to the beach or light candles, go swimming, like myself. But it's more than what you see on social media.
Exactly.
It's taking the time to learn yourself, taking the time to appreciate and accept your flaws
Yes.
and your greatest attributes, and just use those to become the best version of yourself.
I absolutely love it. Miss Penn, speak to us about your platform and what inspired you to embrace that platform.
Well, my platform is Unmask Her Rape. It is directed towards rape victims or sexual assault victims that are silent and are afraid of speaking up. I am a survivor of molestation, and I feel as though the stuff that I went through, I don't want that to be something that others go through. I want to help them to make sure that they're doing the right things to help themselves heal. So when I chose my platform, I thought on them and I thought on my story as well. And I said, hey, do this for them, because I know sometimes people don't have the help. And they need that person there to show them that, yes, I'm here for you and I will be with you every step of the way.
Like Ms. Walters said, again, when we think about rape, when we think about molestation, even incest, these are all things we are very shy about in the community, still somewhat considered taboo. But this is, I think, a platform that really needs a voice, and you are standing as a voice representing that platform. What exactly do you intend to do about it? Because yes, we've been having hush-hush conversations about it, but what is your plan? Are you to become queen in addressing the issue?
Well, definitely I would partner with the Royal BVI the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, Inspector Bob. I would definitely partner with him because he's who is in charge of dealing with these type of cases.
Okay.
And also, once I've done that, I am also going to start a nonprofit foundation, which will be called Yana, You Are Not Alone. And I feel like this would be a great way to teach and help those victims, in whether it be in therapy, how to cope with what happened to them, how to look at signs that this doesn't happen to you. And once I've done that, and once I've started that, I also have already started getting messages from victims anonymously through an app that is called Send It. And I've gotten a lot of stories from people, and it's very, very emotional. I can say that, to see what they have been through, and to see that the fact they are open enough to come and speak to me about it. Sometimes I am a total stranger. So the fact that they are willing to do that shows me that I am impacting them already.
All right, so that foundation is coming. I think, again, all beautiful platforms. Before you go, ladies, I really want to speak to some of your pet peeves. What irks you? Because I got a lot of pet peeves, and I'm really trying to, like, how do you feel about, things that irks you? Tell us a little bit about some of your pet peeves. What bothers you?
I think one of my number one pet peeves is using phones at the table.
Okay.
Or
That means no phones at the date?
no phones at the table, or just like if you're in a setting with other persons.
Yes.
Like, just take that moment to be with the people that you're with. Why do you have to be on your phone?
Right.
You could check your phone when you're done.
Right.
Unless it's an emergency, but that's definitely my number one pet peeve.
So hold on. What if you're on a date, this is your first date with a guy, and he turned his phone down. Some persons would say, is he trying to hide something? How do you feel about that?
Him turning his phone down would simply mean, okay, he's not looking at it, and he's simply giving me his attention.
Yes.
I would really appreciate that.
Awesome.
Honestly.
He's being present. I love it. Miss Smith, what would be a pet peeve of yours?
I would have to say the rubbing of styrofoam. Oh my goodness.
You don't like the sound of that?
No. Oh.
Okay.
It happened a lot in my high school and in college, because the use of styrofoam is conventional for them.
Yes.
And all the students use it.
Yes.
I'm sorry. If there is a rubbing of styrofoam right next to me while I'm eating, I just
You
can't.
hate it.
Yes. Oh.
Okay, Miss Ben.
Well, I definitely would have to say loud people. And when I say loud people, I don't mean like loud all the time. I mean in like unnecessary situations. You have right times where you have to be loud.
Okay.
There's a time and a place. And I
Okay.
feel like those people who don't respect that, it really it really bothers me, because I am a very soft-spoken type of person, and I am quiet most of the time. And when I'm in my little personality, when I'm quiet and I just want a little bit of peace,
Yes.
and someone comes in and messes with that peace and be loud, it really irritates me. It really bothers me, and my hairs start to stand up, honestly.
So essentially, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah? All right, ladies. I think it's been quite spirited discussions with you guys. I'm really enjoying and liking what I'm seeing. Before we go, what do you want to tell your supporters? Because clearly you guys come with your own followers. I've been following y'all on social media like little celebrities. But what do you want to say to your supporters, your sponsors so far, in a capsule, of course, just, I guess, in gratitude to them?
I'll go first. I would like to say, for one, thank you to all my sponsors, and thank you to everyone who has helped me so far and will continue to help me in this journey. I would like to point out that this weekend I am having an awareness weekend, which on Saturday I will be having a bake sale. It will be from 9 to 3 at the Passear Road Town. And then on Sunday I will also be having a sip and paint, and that will be at Irene's restaurant. It will be from 6 to 9, and it will be a great panel. We would have Miss Sophia, we would have Miss Sharon, and we would also have Inspector Bob, and we will definitely go into talking about different things, and it will be a great discussion. This is an event that you do not want to miss.
All right, Ms. Walters.
I simply want to thank my supporters, specifically my mom, for just encouraging me during this journey. It's been something new and a great experience, and I just want to thank all the supporters out there.
All right, and Miss Smith.
I would just like to send a shout out to my sponsors. There are way too many to be named at the time. I would also like to say a shout out to my family, my intermediate family, that is. You get a team, and the team is there for you. But your parents are always that one,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
that block, that foundation for you. So I just want to send a really big shout out to you guys. And also, I would like to implore all the listeners out there to come and support us on remind me guys, when is it?
October 17th at the Eileen L. Parsons Auditorium, 8 p.m.
That's right. Don't be late.
Tickets will be on sale soon, so you guys want to look out for that.
All right, viewers, quite a mouthful. I'm super excited about what we're hearing today and experiencing with these young ladies. And, you know, I want to say before I usher in my next batch that each of you are equally and capably able to represent these Virgin Islands. And I want to encourage you, even beyond the stage on October 17th, being that your platforms are so impactful and so diverse, I want to implore you to still continue to do that work because it is much needed in the community. And also, as a young voice in the community, you are also serving as representation for the younger generation. So ladies, good luck. Thank you so much. And viewers, with that said, we're going to go to a very quick commercial break, and we're coming back with contestants 3, 4, and 6. So not 3, 4, 5, and 6. Stick with us.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Viewers, welcome back to 284 Media. If you're now joining us, we are joined by royalty, the contestants of the Miss British Virgin Islands pageant. Now, prior to the break, we spoke to 1, 2, 3. Now we are getting into it with contestants 4, 5, and 6. They are radiant, beautiful, and ready to represent you. So without further ado, I will just allow them to go ahead and introduce themselves, beginning with our contestant number 4.
Good evening to the viewing audience. I am Savannah Charles, your delegate number 4, vying for the title of Miss British Virgin Islands 2021.
Awesome.
Good evening, beautiful Virgin Islands. I am your contestant number 5, Kiana Cameron.
Good evening, British Virgin Islands. I am your contestant number 6, Kathleen Archibald Drew.
All right. Now, I have to do this just like I did for the former contestants. I want to get a feel of what it's been like for you. Now, Miss Charles, I know you are no stranger to this industry, but personally and based on my experience, I also know that every time it's a bit different, yeah? So speak to us about what the journey has been like so far for you for Miss British Virgin Islands.
Well, the routine of going through a pageant, I think I'm used to that at this point. But like you said, every experience with pageantry is different. For me, what my challenge is trying to make myself as creative as possible. Being that I've done this so many times and the public has seen me, my expectation is how can I surprise them again?
Yes.
They don't want to see Savannah do something that they saw 2 years ago in another local pageant. So for me, being my own chaperone, I really have to push myself and try to be outside of the box. So that creative juice, I have to get it flowing.
Awesome. It's almost like reinventing yourself.
Correct. Every time.
Awesome. Miss Cameron?
This journey has definitely been a roller coaster for me. I initially joined because I wanted to make new friends and create new memories. And then when I joined, I was like, oh, okay, this is a commitment, you know? So there was definitely moments of wanting to back out and feeling low. But it definitely has taught me more of who I am and who I want to be and instilled that within me. And I'm so grateful
So that has
I
been-
love that you mentioned it's been a roller coaster journey, because I think that's very real. You know, a lot of persons don't understand the level of perseverance, discipline, and sacrifice that
Exactly.
goes into not only competing but having to represent a territory.
Exactly.
So I'm really happy that you could have shared that. Miss Kathleen Drew, Archibald Drew?
Yes, ma'am. That's
Beautiful.
Archibald Drew.
Awesome.
So I would say that the experience for me, as you said, it has required a lot of perseverance.
Yes.
It has been incredibly fun, but the way I always like to think about it is that it requires you to be strong in mind, body, and spirit, because you are working your body, you are working your mind, you are working your creativity, you are working your logical side. You have
Yes.
to know current events for that Q&A section. You need to understand yourself for that interview section. You basically need to know how to run a small business for that sponsorship campaign.
Absolutely.
It has been enlightening. Enlightening is the word that I would use. It has
Okay.
taught me so much.
Now, Miss Archibald Drew,
Yes,
I think upon the launch or the reveal of the contestants, your platform really stood out to me, and I'll tell you why. Unconventional. Probably not something that I've heard of before. So I want you to just dive into it a little bit and also tell us why. Why did that inspire you so much?
Ooh, that's a really excellent question. So I chose my platform. I'll start with why I chose it. I noticed that I travel a lot for school.
Okay.
And I noticed that often I am the only person of our territory and often of our region in a room. So I feel as though implicitly that puts me in a position to represent, and that makes me an ambassador. So for my platform, I chose ambassadorship. And what that's meant is selling our interest and selling us as a territory through our beautiful stories. If someone really likes seafood, I tell them about how I would go diving with my parents as a kid and
Yes.
pick lobsters out of the ocean to eat that night. It was uncomfortable because I knew them before I eat them,
Yes,
but
yes,
you know,
yes.
you win some, you lose some. If it's somebody who is really, really excited to see the development of the African diaspora, I tell them about our Black leadership and the fight that it took us to get there.
Yeah.
I also have been thinking a lot about what that representation means within the territory, because ambassadorship is not just something you do abroad, it's something that you do at home. You
Absolutely.
represent those interests at home. And it's really made me think. We are in the midst of what I like to call a natural disaster sandwich. You have the hurricanes of 2017.
Yes.
You have the 2019 pandemic, and what that means is that we are in a time of basically necessary healing, and the job of an ambassador is to push your interests. The job of a queen in times of plenty is to celebrate, and in times of austerity is to bring hope. So that's another thing that I've been thinking about in relation to my platform.
That's so absolutely well said. And again, speaking to the cultural fabric, who we are as a people, despite of the fact that we are so resilient and still so full of hope. Very good, Ms. Drew Archibald. I want to double back on something you said about the importance of ambassadors as well. Clearly, we've seen great representation, particularly in the areas of sports, but that extends across the board. The BVI has been even Miss Sophia Rubain, who just copped our first international title. So I want you to speak to the importance of pride when representing the territory and how much that carries you to the next level. And of course, why all of this is so important.
I think that every Virgin Islander that steps off of this little rock, off of these little rocks, even within our territory, is an ambassador. I say that specifically, the example that I like to use is university students, because you go away and you influence the fabric of the place that you are for several years. You bring a piece of your culture with you. And our culture is definitively something to be proud of.
Yes.
As our territorial song says, we came out of the huts of history's pain. Our ancestors bled and died so that we can have what we currently have. And that is the pride that you should take with you everywhere you go. It is the pride that I take with me everywhere that I go. And I think that we are also just such a loving people. So that pride is what takes you to the next level in terms of ambassadorship, because you can share our resilience and our love with everyone.
and we are certainly a proud people. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Miss Cameron to tell us a little bit about her platform and what inspired you to get into that. Why that particular platform for you?
My platform is youth empowerment, and what inspired me to choose that platform was based off of experience. I realized that trying to heal from the external, go in, was kind of not the best way to do it, because you are trying to heal the result of what, trauma that you have inside. So with youth empowerment, I want to create a community where we can, as an individual, heal our traumas and everything that we have within, so that as a community, we can pour into each other and uplift each other, take BVI love to a next level.
I love that you mentioned the importance of healing, because one of the things that came to mind a second ago is the fact that even within this COVID-19 pandemic, our young people, in my opinion, have been neglected as it relates to their mental health. We are not thinking about how this has affected them being out of their normal school environment, not interacting with each other, being confined to the home. We're not talking about that. So what do you believe you can do within this time, or even as you become queen, to empower those young people, especially those, and I mean, it's not just about the pandemic. I mean, if we're to think about the fact that from 2017, our students have been displaced, what do you intend to do as a part of your reign to empower our young people?
So what I feel like is that based off of what has happened, school for me was a place where I could have connected with my friends. If I had any problems I was facing, school was kind of an escape. So since I was taken away from them, I feel like that has impacted their lives in another deeper way.
Yes.
So I would like to create an organization where I can offer a hub where children or even adults can come and connect with each other and network and pour into each other and uplift each other, not just in person, but utilizing social media as well, because it doesn't just have negative effects,
Yes,
it's what you
absolutely.
use it for. So that is what I will do.
I love it. Miss Charles, tell us a little bit about your platform.
My platform is child literacy, and I've been working with it for a few years now. It originally started because of my love for reading. When I was a little girl, I was an avid reader.
Okay.
And it just so happened that my career path coincided with my platform. So I've chosen to keep it. My platform is something that I work with on a day-to-day basis. So because I'm an educator at the secondary division here in the territory, I can see how reading impacts students, not just in my classroom, but in all other subject areas as well.
Yes.
And usually when you give students something to read or write, they're not that enthusiastic about it. They tend to see it as a chore. But that makes my role in the classroom so much more important, because my job is to show them that reading can be a wonderful experience. And I think I speak for all educators in the territory when I say that readers are lifelong learners.
Yes.
So I would like to take this time to inform the general public that Reading is Fun Week is coming up. And I will be hosting the opening ceremony at the Elmore Stout High School Lower Campus on October 10th.
Okay.
And I'm
Nice.
pretty sure that many of the public schools, especially the primary schools, they will be sending students home with their respective initiatives. So I would like parents to take this time to really start something within the home. Let's bring back story time at bedtime for the younger ones. Maybe the older ones, have them read an article from the news. And the little things like that are going to branch off into greater things for your children. You're going to start to see them become more creative.
Yes.
You're going to see their vocabulary improve. You're going to see their public speaking improve. All of these things are going to make your child more well-rounded.
I absolutely agree with that. You mentioned the importance of reading those news articles on 284media.com.
284media.
I just needed to
Your
plug
news
that in
plug.
there.
No shame.
But I really love that as a territory, and as you examine the educational system, and especially since you speak from the perspective of an educator, what do you think collectively we can do to provide better opportunities for young children, particularly in the areas of literacy?
Well, I must say that I'm impressed with several of the primary schools and their push in the younger classes, the pre-primary classes, to really get them at a young age, building on their phonetic skills, their sentence structure and other grammar skills. The little things like that are going to make them better readers. So when they come to us at the secondary level, we can see how they have improved over the years. I also want to take this time to let parents know the schools cannot do it all. So parents really need to take the time out, just even if it's 5-10 minutes a day.
Yes.
That time every day, it does add up. And really, readers do start on the lap. So whether it's mommy or daddy or an older family member or relative in the neighborhood, in the household, just get them involved in reading. If you know your child has a keen interest in something, try to grab as much literary facts that you can and bring them home in the house and let that child explore.
Yes.
So if you know you have a child that's interested in science, get them some science books. Some students like action figures. Some students like nature and biography. Once you know your child, you should be able to get some sort of pieces that you know that they would enjoy, and then from there, just let them flourish.
So you're essentially marrying what they love to the importance of
Exactly.
reading. I absolutely love that. And also, I love that your platform really speaks to reading because in addition to that, successful people have one common habit.
They're readers.
They're readers. All right, my earring is trying to bother me again. I'm trying to look pretty like y'all. But I want to speak to pet peeves. Clearly, I spoke to my former contestants. I'm going to just take this off, okay? Shoot. Some of the other contestants had quite some interesting pet peeves. I'll start with you since you're closest to me. What would you say is a pet peeve? What irks you?
I wouldn't say that I have OCD, but I do have some tendencies. So if something is out of place, out of order, or even off balance, that tends to irk me. So we were joking beforehand, before we came on stage, that we have color coordination.
Yes.
And Kiana and I are kind of right next to each other with the pink and pink, and it should be pink, yellow, pink, yellow. So I was like, in my head, if Kathleen and Kiana could switch shirts, that would really make me happy. But it's not going to freak me out, but it's something that I tend to pick up on.
Well, thank God at least my colors match in the sashes.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
Don't throw
So-
you off too much.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're blending.
All right. Miss Cameron, what would be your pet peeve?
That's a great question. I would say that my pet peeve are people who are just disrespectful for no reason.
Okay.
Especially to folks who are trying to be as respectful as possible and nice, and you just, coming up just mean for
Yes,
no reason.
yes.
Like, why you gotta be
They
so
just
mean?
woke up and chose violence.
You chose peace sometimes. Like, do some healing, something.
Yes. So I get that. Respect goes a long way. And Miss Archibald Drew, what would it be for you?
That's a really interesting question, and I've been thinking about it since you asked the other contestants, and I've been really having trouble thinking about a pet peeve. I would say that my pet peeve is it's very niche. It's very niche. And
Disclaimer.
and it very much comes out of the bowels of my heart, but it really makes me upset when people reference news articles but don't read the articles. Like, they just read the
Ooh.
headlines.
Guess whose pet peeve is that as well?
Is it yours too?
Ooh, girl, tell us why.
It really stresses me out because when you read a news article on a platform like 284 Media, you get a rounded understanding of the situation. If you just read the headline, then you only understand a fragment of the situation. So then everybody is confused, and it just makes me upset when everybody is confused, especially when it's avoidable. It is avoidable. You can read the article.
Do not jump to conclusions. Read the article, okay?
Don't go off of the clickbait.
I just
Read
really
the whole
listen.
article.
284 Media, some ambassadors, okay? I'm just saying, they're representing for the brand. But ladies, I think you guys have really touched on some important topics. I want to speak to, before you go, how all of this has impacted you. I'm speaking about not just the pageant, or I should say preparing for the pageant in the midst of a pandemic. Clearly, we are restricted, but how are you feeling? How are you able to create a balance? How are you healing in order to be the best representation for this territory?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, this is definitely taught me that you have to be adaptable. And we had our plans for the August date, and everything was derailed, understandably, due to COVID. But now we just have to see how can we work with the pieces that we're left with, how can we move forward, and how can we make this pageant experience a great one, not just for yourself, but for all the contestants involved.
All right, Miss Drew, Archibald Drew. I'm so sorry, girl.
No problem, no problem. I would say that in terms of the preparation, especially in the midst of the pandemic, it has been quite difficult, but I would say that the thing that's been helping me the most are all the people around me who are willing to work basically just as hard as I am, you know, with my mom working extra time to help me stick to my diet, and my cousin quizzing me on Q&A answers, you know, family driving you up and down to make sure you get places on time. It has really meant the world. And in terms of healing, just remembering that a lot of the things that I am dealing with in the midst of this pandemic are not alone. I am also a pandemic student, so doing the online learning thing is difficult, especially if on occasion, you know, your net's a little faulty. So it has been a really healing experience just to talk to other people and understand that the difficulties that I'm facing, we're facing them as a community.
Absolutely. And Miss Cameron.
I would like to say that this experience has been, well, for one, my mom, that I would like to add to the list of pet peeves, you know, being on my back. But
Okay, mommy.
but I'm grateful because it helps me to do the best that I can with the circumstances that I have. I came into this with a vision based off of past experience of other Miss BVI queens from the past, and I kind of had to detach from that vision and adapt to what is here now and create something for myself. So that has been my experience.
And what I'm hearing collectively here is the fact that, you know, while this is a personal journey, you guys are reiterating that it still takes a village. You are so grateful to your supporters, your family, and everyone who is helping in this process. So I want to thank you guys. But before I go, I want to give you an opportunity to give a quick shout out to the people who have been fundamental in supporting your journey so far. And of course, we're going to wrap up right after that. Miss Cameron.
I would like to give a huge shout out to my sunflowers, you know, who are a part of the sunflower garden. I would first like to say, you know, little promotion. If you aren't, you know, subscribe to me on YouTube at Keeks TV and on Audio Mac at Keeks Radio. But yes, I would like to give a huge shout out to my sunflowers and my family who have been nothing but supporting, you know, a little bit of a pain sometimes, but supporting. And everyone on my team, you know, you guys are pushing me to be the best me that I can be, you know, not just for this pageant, but lifelong. And I'm so grateful.
All right.
I want to thank my sponsors, especially considering that with this pandemic, you know, there's been a bit of a constriction with the economy. So every dollar helps a lot. A lot of small businesses are helping, and it means the absolute world, especially now. I want to thank my family for working overtime with me, and my team for doing the same, working overtime with me, making sure that I am getting this walk down. These shoes are new to me. Making sure that I'm learning my makeup because that's something that's new to me. Making sure that I am up to date with where the BVI fits into the world so that I can answer these Q&A questions. I mean, all of these things, there is not enough, I don't think, praise that I could give to thank everybody who has been supporting me on this journey. Everybody on my YouTube channel who has been watching and supporting me as I go through and I'm raising money on my YouTube channel. So clicking in on those videos and clicking on the Buy Me a Coffee link to donate a lipstick here, it means the world. Thank you.
Awesome. And Miss Charles?
Being in this pageant industry for so long, I have more than just a team behind me. I literally have an entire community, but I would like to take this time to shout out especially my District 6 community. They've been supporting me since Prince and Princess days, and they've seen me grow and evolve, and I'm so grateful for all of them. from my district rep, Honorable Alfred Maduro Keynes, come straight down. I would also like to take this time to thank my sponsors who have supported me year after year. Your contributions are greatly appreciated. My immediate family, so my parents, my grandmother, close cousins, thank you for all the love, support, encouragement. And of course, shout out to all of my lovely students at the BVI Dance School and also at the Elmore Stout High School. They have been really excited about seeing their teacher on stage, especially my theater art students, you know, so they'll actually get to see me putting what I teach them in the classroom, see me demonstrating it on stage. So I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, and it is well appreciated.
Well, like I said to the, well, first of all, when I grow up, I want to be like y'all. First of all, I'm so impressed by the quality of women that we're putting forward on the stage for this year's pageant. And again, want to remind each and every one of you that you are enough. You are more than capable, and implore you to continue these very important platforms even after the stage. I know, Sylvana, you have been doing this for quite a number of years, and your work speaks for itself. But for every other person, especially those embracing this journey for the first time, this really changes the course and the direction of your life. And I mean, I can speak for myself. I never studied journalism, media, none of that. It was because of pageantry that my path was directed to media by fluke, right? And so I'm here today as a true representation of what that journey can become if you are ready to take it seriously, and of course continue to extend your platform. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It was such an honor. And viewers, of course, the preliminary interview segment is on October 7th. Is that correct?
The 8th.
That is
Personal interview on the 8th.
personal interview on October 8th, and this is a segment that happens prior to the actual pageant night, which is on October 17th. Is the public invited to the October 8th event, sorry?
Whether they are going to be able to be seated there, we don't have 100% confirmation, but hopefully, if that is not the case, they would be able to live stream.
All right.
So something will be provided for you.
Absolutely.
No worries.
And of course, viewers, you can follow the Miss British Virgin Islands page for all live updates. These ladies have been embarking on quite a number of events, getting out in the community. You know, you've seen them making public appearances. And of course, by way of 284 Media now had the exclusive opportunity to get to know them beyond what is going to be represented on that stage. They are us, and they are BVI Love. With that said, viewers, my name is Jovan Wilson, and this has been an absolute pleasure. Good night.